Good afternoon. As Public Information Officer said, my name is Cleveland Spruill. I am the Chief of Police for Athens-Clarke County Police Department. Last name is spelled S-P as in Paul, Aura, U-I-L-L. I'm joined for this press conference today by Special Agent Jesse Maddox, who is the Special Agent in charge of the Athens region for the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. I'm also joined by Deputy Chief Jeff Clark and by Deputy Chief Mike Hunsinger. So good afternoon. Shortly before 12:30 today, Athens-Clarke County police officers responded to the 1000 block of Macon Highway for a report of a man who was armed with a knife, covered in blood, and acting erratically. Upon arrival, officers encountered the man who was still in possession of the knife. Officers gave numerous commands for the man to drop the knife. However, he disregarded these commands and began to advance on the officers. The officers, while continuing to repeat orders for the individual to drop the knife, began to retreat. However, the individual continued to advance upon them, and at one point during the encounter, the man charged at them, actually ran at the officers, and the officers fired multiple shots at that individual. He felt that individual fell to the ground as a result of his injuries, and he was immediately thereafter treated by paramedics, but he succumbed to his injuries and he is in fact deceased. At this point, we are withholding the name of that individual pending notification of the next of kin. In accordance with Athens-Clarke County Police Department's policy, we immediately contacted the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. Special Agent Maddox and his personnel were on scene shortly thereafter, and they are going to be handling that investigation. Also, in accordance with our policy, the officers that were involved in the incident have been placed on administrative leave pending the review of the preliminary investigation into this incident. We are still very early on in the investigation, and so a lot of facts we don't know. We will take a few questions, but we're going to be very limited as far as what we may be able to share this afternoon.
Chief, you described the man as being bloody. Was that his own blood, or did he hurt somebody else? Did you find another victim somewhere?
There was no other victim that we were able to locate. We believe that it was his own blood, yes.
Chief, I know that apartment complex there, I believe it's private housing, but for UGA and other college students, do we believe that person was living there, or was he just coming through the area?
There's information that he was known in that area. However, he was not living there at the time, and as far as we know, and he is not a student at UGA, if that's the follow-up question.
And known in that area by the public, or known in that area by police from past run-ins?
Not from the police from past run-ins, by the public.
Chief, how many of your officers were involved, and explain what injuries they did sustain?
At this point, I'm really not at liberty to talk about injuries that the officers sustained, other than they were very minor, and they were treated and released. And there were 3 officers on the scene at the time of the shooting.
Did all 3 fire?
No, two officers fired. Okay.
So those 2 are on admin leave?
That's correct. Okay.
When the officers responded, can you give us any details? Was it from a 911 call to someone in the public to see this man and sort of describe what he looked like? Or?
There were multiple calls that came in from callers, and each of them described an individual who was acting very erratically, who was armed with a knife and who was bleeding at that location. And it was several calls. I don't know the exact number.
Can you give me an age on the man? I know you don't want to release his name, but his age?
I believe he's in his 20s, and he is an Asian male. Okay.
Did you, Chief, I don't know if you answered this question, but do you know whether he was a student?
I believe I already indicated he was not a student at UGA. I don't know whether you want to add anything, or is it? No, we're good. Okay. All right.
I'm assuming you have body camera from all 3 officers and various.
We do have body camera, and we're anticipating a request to view that body camera. We want to get a chance to look at it first, and we'll get back with you in the near future about the release of the body-worn camera.
Chief, this might be a question for the GBI, but can you just get a status update on the scene out there, and sort of, I guess, the investigation moving forward? You know how much longer you'll be out there, what the status is?
We don't know the exact time that it's going to take to finish. However, they're going to work it as quickly as possible, but thorough is the key there. As soon as we're finished with that, we will begin our process of putting everything together, and we'll turn everything over to the district attorney as soon as that's done.
And I was out there briefly, is the whole scene, sort of located in the roadway there, Macon Highway?
It extends a little further than that, but it's hard to say exactly how large it is, but we're covering a fairly large ground just to cover everything.
Okay. The whole encounter, though, do we believe it took place in the highway area there?
The encounter did take place there, yes, sir.
Chief, were both officers injured that fired, or was one injured? How many officers were injured?
My understanding is that only one officer was slightly injured. Okay?
With a knife wound?
No, ma'am, not with a knife wound. Okay, I'll take one other question if you have it, otherwise we'll call it a wrap. Thank you.